Hi there folks, my name's Chris Kilby. I'm a pastor in a pergola, and would you believe this is the 61st devotional talk that I've given since we've been in this pandemic, and we've been looking through Paul's first letter to his son in the faith, Timothy. So today's bite-sized Bible is from 1 Timothy chapter 5, and we're on to verse 6, and the question I want to ask today is, what are you living for? What are you living for? You'll remember that the Apostle Paul was writing to his son, his spiritual son, Timothy, who was leading a church for Paul there in Ephesus. And Paul was giving him some guidance about how to care for and provide for the widows in the church, and presumably others in need as well would have need caring for in the local church. But Paul now mentions a word of warning to actually some of the widows themselves, and it's a good warning for any Christian. Let me read verse 6 for you. Paul says, "But the widow who lives for pleasure is dead even while she lives." The widow who lives for pleasure is dead even though she lives. So what Paul's hinting at is a truth that I think we all know and we all understand, but we sometimes don't live like it. That truth that tells us that pleasure will somehow satisfy us. But Paul says the person who just lives for pleasure, for that alone, is like the living dead. It's like you're physically alive, but you're not really fully alive. It's like being alive, but it's like being dead at the same time. There's nothing life-giving in the simple kind of hedonistic pleasures that the world has to offer. And the reason is because, unlike the satisfaction that Christ brings, every worldly pleasure is only short-lived. It's only ever temporary. So that superb meal that you went out for last week doesn't satisfy you this week. That promotion that you got, that you thought would give you the extra buck that you needed, actually there's still too much month left at the end of your money, and it never really satisfies. Even your latest gadget or your latest car, today's showroom beauties are tomorrow's scrapyard debris. You see, the things of this world never ever ultimately satisfy, and so that's why Paul was warning and explaining that there's a spiritual death that comes if that's where the only place we look for our pleasure. To be truly alive is to live for Jesus. That's when we are truly alive, because he does satisfy. He satisfies totally, he satisfies lastingly, and he satisfies eternally. So what are you living for? Pleasure or Jesus? Go for it. Live for Jesus. My name's Chris Kilby. I'm a pastor in a pergola, and that was today's bite-sized Bible from 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 6, and I shall see you next time.